I can hear people voices.
Oh, hello.
You can hear
Hello,
voices.
Hello, Kingfisher. Come in, Kingfisher. Are you receiving me?
Are you receiving? Can you hear a dog? There's a dog in the background.
I'd have thought he was in the foreground, actually.
Ah. Too much big.
I've just got
Switch
a
camera.
snowboard in.
How's life in the fast lane, eh?
Yeah. Right. You haven't got my video, have you? There we go. Hello, Dave.
You made it.
Yeah.
Have you fixed your internet now?
Internet?
Yeah, you were buffering last week, weren't you?
No, I wasn't.
How did you know? Why did you mention buffering then?
It appeared that yours was.
How did it? It can't say that mine was.
It didn't tell me. It was just. I assume there's buffering because it continues from where you'd left off.
My internet, I checked my speed. My internet speed is like 90 megabits per second. It did come up. I did see a. That's really weird. I've done a lot of Zoom meetings and I have never. Well, I checked it just now anyway. So fingers crossed that I'm.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's us because David buffers. Morning, Dave.
I'm buffering. Morning. And Joyce didn't come in now. She was going to come, but she didn't say. She just can't make it. Pauline should be here this morning.
Oh, good.
Christine. I haven't heard from Carol, so. But I said to Joyce, don't worry, I'll send you a video anyway. So keep the language clean.
I'm just turning my phones off and my other computers off.
He's got him worried now, Anne.
Yeah. I think it's us that buffers, actually, because my son does a radio program and quite often he buffers like that as well. So I think it's ours, not yours.
If it says it's buffering, it means that your computer is buffering the feed as it comes in.
Yeah.
And then once it's filled up the buffer, it will release it. It's a bit like having a big bucket, really. All the information comes in the bucket.
Yeah.
And then once it's full, it chucks it out at you and then it does it again. It's just because it can't do it fast enough.
It's us that buffers.
It's a bandwidth problem, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're the ones living in the wilds.
I know. Tell us.
Yeah, we got 40 megs, but it's coming down a very, very narrow copper pipe, apparently. That was the analogy I was given.
All right.
I've turned the taps off, so it won't take anything out of it.
Well, James has just bought all new Wi-Fi and internet stuff. So if I go down and tell him that it ain't no good, he'll thump me. Especially as I put the boxes in the recycle yesterday. I think there's the Virgin one is still to go, but he bought a load of Orbis or whatever it is, Netgear, which is really quite powerful stuff. It's funny, really. I've been feeling a bit woozy ever since we had it installed. So maybe my brain's getting zapped.
Could be. Give you a microwave. Yeah, have a microwave.
And then you get 5G. And then you get the 5G thing coming in as well. Or there's a lot of people saying that's a bit like getting your brain zapped.
Oh, I'm safe in Blandford. I can only get 3 or 4 on my phones.
It's not the ones on the phone. It's all along the roads and buildings. Should make life interesting.
Yeah.
Did you see on my email? I've had 5 days of clear night skies.
Brilliant.
I've
Enjoyed
never,
yourselves.
well, I got last night out because I set it all up about, well, as soon as it gets twilight, you know, as soon as I can see a star, I'm out there, set it all up, and then I set a schedule so that the telescope just goes off and does its stuff all night long, and then come in house and I can monitor it from in here. But the trouble with that was I had to have I can see what's going on, but I'd have the computer monitor on. Well, when you're trying to go to sleep, it's a bright light in the room. I don't really fancy it. I do sleep. I do sleep all right through it, but you sort of stick your head under the pillow. So anyway, yesterday I thought, I wonder if I could do it on my mobile. So yeah, I found an app. Your mate Bill, it's got an app that I can put on my phone and do the remote desktop on my phone. So that proves that the internet must be working well.
Yeah.
Because that way I can have the phone over the other side and just switch it on and off and go to sleep, set it for say 2 o'clock, check it, go back to sleep.
Morning.
Hi, Chris.
Morning, Chris.
Hello, Christine.
Morning, Gordon. Morning.
Yeah, morning, Chris. I am here.
Oh, hello, Anne.
Yeah.
We'll see your pretty face one day.
Yeah, I wish.
Oh, everybody okay?
Yeah, we're fine.
Good,
fine.
good.
Yeah, we're all right.
That's all right then. That's good.
Yeah.
I said on my note, Stephen rang me up one day
Oh, yeah.
last week.
That was good.
Of course, it was a bit not awkward, but I deliberately haven't been sending him any texts for a couple of weeks because of George. I thought, well, if I don't want, because Stephen, I don't think he can read very well, if at all. So I didn't want to. If he could read just a little bit, then it might sort of sway it out of context, you know, make it a bit funny. So I was sort of hoping. Normally, if I send him a text, he'll bloody ring me about. If I send it at 7:30, he'll ring it at 8 o'clock. Right? Isn't crazy? You know, I get. When am I there? Are we back? Are we? You know, and all this stuff. But he did, so I knew if I didn't text him, it's reverse psychology, he would ring me thinking there was something going on. Which he did, consequently did.
He's all right though, is he?
Yeah, I told him about George and that, and he was quite taken aback, really.
Yeah.
Well, I just sort of said, well, he was poorly. Yeah, he was really poorly last year. I know, yeah. So, you know, that was good. That was a relief.
Yeah.
Mind you, well, his girlfriend died, didn't she? Is it last year or just beginning of it?
Yes, yeah, it was early, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's been looking after her. He was pretty robust about that.
Yeah. Well done. Well,
I had a present, Dave, in the week.
Really?
Yeah. Some Chinese white from Jackson's.
Ooh.
So I was practicing and I threw a sky down and it ended up with 2 swans on the water.
Yeah, I saw that. I put that one on the website.
Yeah, but that painting was done with your technique of throwing garish colours in the sky, then wiping them out and slapping white all over them and messing it around. And that's how that one came from. It was originally a practice sheet.
A bit of art therapy. I framed it up and put it up on the.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
it doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, I noticed you're putting free adverts on my internet now.
I suppose I just thought it was the.
Yeah, well, I'll charge you a sponsorship fee.
It's just that, don't you bloody start. I had the Inland Revenue.
Oh no, don't sponsor them.
My tax code come through this morning.
Yeah.
Of course, now you're a pensioner, you're only allowed to earn a fiver, and then you've got to pay 20%.
Oh yeah.
Here's trouble.
Oh, I don't know. All these people that are earning money. How wonderful.
Hi,
Cool. Wow.
Hello.
I'm
Hello,
a bit dark this morning, so
You're a
I'm
bit
sat in the
dark.
corner.
You're like a silhouette.
Yeah.
Morning, morning, everybody.
Hi,
Morning.
Carol.
Hello.
Nice. Oh, hang on. Oh, nice to see you, Pauline.
Thank you.
Morning,
Well,
Gordon.
Might be getting up and going for a walk a few
All
times.
right.
But, yeah, I'm here. So
Good,
Oh,
good.
that's nice.
You all right, Pauline?
yeah, not too bad. I'm not right, but I'm better than I was. So yeah, I can't sit for too long. So it's not
Ah,
a good position. But hey ho.
what did the scans say? Did they say they can do anything for you?
Put the light on. Is that better?
Yeah.
well, that's
Really?
better.
The scan said that I've got a slip disc and a bulging disc and
Oh,
a
well.
slight narrowing of the spinal column, but I think that was because the bulging disc is going into the column. That's what's causing the slight.
Oh, God.
So yeah,
Mm.
but they only offered me an epidural. This is private, but it was quite expensive and it's not really a cure. So I decided not to go down that route, but I've got an NHS appointment, only a phone call in April. So I'll see what happens with that. So
Well, they should give you one, shouldn't they? Really?
they should, yeah, because hopefully they'll start doing things like that because of COVID. I think, they might have stopped a lot of things. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's where we're at. So no cure at the moment.
No.
Winnie's driver used to he had a bad back, but for a similar sort of thing, and he was like in pain for quite a while. Obviously, he could still drive a bit. And one day he came back and he'd had an epidural because he does a lot of driving. He drives people to the care centre and all that during the day next door, and he'd had an epidural, and he was really chuffed with it.
Yeah, I've had one before. Well, I've had several over the years, but on the whole, they do work.
Well, I had one a few years ago and it didn't seem to do anything, but sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
So I've moved my light now so you can see my face more.
Yeah.
Don't know whether that's a good thing.
You've got a nice glow about you.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you look like you've been sunbathing.
Yeah. Oh, it's been lovely this week, hasn't it?
I know. It's cold out this morning, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cold.
What do you think of today? I'm really worried about today's picture.
Why?
Well, I did those water droplets. It's going to be a bit of a challenge, I reckon.
We can always leave them out.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying. I'll go through it and see what I come up with.
I might have a go at pastel with this because my painting is crap lately. It's terrible.
It's never that bad.
I just look at it, it just looks so flat. I've got no life in it. I don't know what's going on, but I thought, well, I've drawn my Kingfisher out, so I might have a go with watercolor pencils, or I might have a go with pastels.
Yeah.
See if I can do it any better.
I haven't touched it yet, so I've printed off a picture, but that's all.
Oh, I have to do mine all in a grid now because I can't use my printer. It's broken.
Right.
So I've got a grid on here now, what I've downloaded, so I can draw it off of that, which does help.
Right.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
These water droplets.
Oh, he's been practicing.
Well, no, I just did one earlier on this morning to see.
Yeah.
you know, just I know how to do them, obviously, but to get them how you want them, I think it's going to be quite an interesting exercise.
I don't think you could get them in pastel though, could I? Would I be able to do it in pastel? I'd have to do them white. I'd have to just do it white, wouldn't I, with a bit of dark underneath it or something. I don't know. I'll see how your painting comes out.
Well, I think what you'll most likely have to do is, in pastel anyway, is get a stick of white and crush it, you know, push it down.
Yeah.
And then probably you have to use pastel pencils to get it
an edge onto it, sort of thing. Yeah. Oh well, this would be fun, won't it? It'd be like the swans, won't it? A disaster. Mine were. Gordon's were nice. I like those you put up. They were nice.
Because one of the things I noticed with
saying she likes your swans.
Let me pin that screen a minute.
Thank you, Carol.
Yeah, your swans were lovely. I was well impressed with those.
Because I wasn't concentrating too hard. I was working on the sky with David's techniques of putting it on, taking it off, putting it on and taking it off.
Oh, I give up with those skies going diagonally. I think I can't do it. Just I'm getting such a mess with it.
I haven't mastered diagonal yet. That was a horizontal one, but
oh wow, yeah.
It's the next lesson.
Yeah. I like the white. Thank goodness for the white.
Yeah.
There's loads of thoughts on the on droplets of water. For example, I know you can't always see in pencil, but one of the things I noticed was if you get a line on the droplet at the top, then the highlight is there and the reflection comes outside.
Oh right.
So that's one thing to keep an eye on, because once you put that hard line on, then you can soften it down. You see what I mean? You get comes there and the droplet, the actual, because the light goes through the side, bounces off there, and then you get the shadow outside. So be aware of that one. One of the things I said today, the subject is what it is, but I'm more concerned about
Or clean it later. It's a bit sticky.
getting it. Obviously, it doesn't work in isolation like that. But I think the other key thing is going to be a little bit of tissue as well, because they're very delicate. And if you just dab, you see I've done it on there. If you just dab it while it's still damp, you'll get that nice sort of flow to it. Think of diamonds, I suppose. Anyway, the actual subject, I have drawn it. Oops, I did two in actual fact. I was laying awake watching the stars last night, and I thought to myself, there's probably 3 or 4 or 5 different ways of doing this. Yeah, and one of the ways, if I could probably one of the ways might be to add, when it's dry, to put a blob of white on, and either let the I've just stuck my finger in that. Let the white dry, because it will dry. Chinese white will dry faint. It's not solid, so it's slightly transparent. And then while it's transparent, we can add. This is what I'm saying. There are so many options on. I'm using blue there. It should be better if it was a slight grey colour. And then tweak it down like so and try it that way. But it's so dependent on the background as well. So you can see what the quandary we've got is quite interesting. The normal way to do it, and the way I'll do it here now, is to treat it as you need masking fluid, yeah?
Oh God, not that stuff again.
Yeah. I was just going to say that.
It never comes off. I think you've got to put it on thicker, haven't you? Then you've got something to rub on then. If I do it really thin, I can't get it off. It's hopeless.
I think the only thing I can suggest is the first thing that comes to mind is make sure you shake the bottle before you put it on. Give it a good shaking over, because I did notice on mine that it made a difference, when it was
right, okay,
mixed up. When I didn't mix it up, especially this this blue one, which I haven't used for ages now. Peblo, is it? Yeah, Pebo. It's very thin, and I give it a good shake, and it seemed to work a lot better then. But if I didn't shake it and just put it straight on, it was, you're right, it didn't work at all. Just looking for.
Dave, the other problem I found with that masking fluid is if your paper isn't a high quality paper, it sinks in and does adhere into the grain of the paper.
Yeah, actually I found that as well, because I only use cheap paper, not being a proper artist and stuff.
You have to treat yourself one day.
I know. I'm frightened to waste it then.
Oh, I know, that's the trouble.
I agree with that. I don't know what to say.
I agree that I'm not an artist.
No, about the paper, I don't.
I know. I'm just joking.
It's a bit of a doodah. I'm thinking as a workflow. There's so many different ways to approach it. I mean, my normal way would be to do a background first, but there's no reason why you can't do the bird first and then drive it in. I'm not going to do that for now. I'm just going to do needs a background too. So I'm using my trusty Wilkinson varnish brush. I'm conscious that I've drawn two, and there's a reason for that. That will all become clear tomorrow morning. No, later. It's not that. We need to. There's no. What's the words? What's the thing I heard the other day that really struck a chord with me was experimentation. Experimentation is the start of invention. So I'm in the context of what we're trying to do here. I think that's a good thing for people that are doing demos to say, we ain't 200% sure what we're doing, but we're not afraid to do it. Maybe. The next stage is when you're doing these background washes, a big brush is usually, a bigger brush is usually the answer to just about everything. Especially these mop ones that all the water comes out, all the hairs come out of it. That's a bit of lemon yellow on there, but I can go up to the bird more or less because I have made it fairly dry.
Oh, is it?
Just putting lemon yellow because it's a.
He's got a big one. He manages. It's strange. It goes sort of solid.
These this is a mop. I told you this is the Jack. Who's it? Rosemary Co. Finest quality brushes you can buy, but
people swear by these mop brushes. Personally, I find that's a bit of lemon yellow. I'm just going to drop in some Prussian blue, that sort of really strong blue for a minute. My printer's printed this out quite weakly. So if yours is darker on the screen, I know it's darker on screen, but I'm quite liking that. So we can have some fun with the background, just drop in a few bits. And I'm going to dry it off with, and also if you've got any darks, drop them in. I suppose we've got to think leaves or foliage is coming out of the blue, maybe. And don't forget, while for us people that stretch our paper, we can always turn it on its edge, and I'm not sure about that dark area now, and just tilt it and see what happens. But as long as we kept the paint away from the inside of the bird, it should be okay. Don't want too much going in there.
I was just checking on David.
It's a good way of doing it. If you want to go mad, which I sometimes am, very rarely anything else, most people say, and you've got some flakes of salt, by all means chuck a few on. Voila. And just let that dry off.
He reuses that.
Love it.
They look like the tropics now, don't they?
They do. Yeah.
Well, that's what I say. They're about. There's a few different. I've deliberately done two. I'm just going to leave that alone to dry off. If I can find my little baby brush. It's funny, isn't it? I bought 2 brand new riggers from Sea Whites of Brighton the other day. A couple of weeks ago now, actually. A number 2 and a number 6 rigger, and I still use the Terry Harrison one all the time.
Oh.
They're very, very personal, funny things, riggers. You just get used to a particular one, and it sticks with it. So my next. So I'm going to leave that alone for a minute. Second idea or methodology was to actually mix up some. I'll take this off here, hang on. I think it does. Yeah, this comes off. So there's my palette. Ta-da! So I'm not using a lot. That was the blue, lemon yellow, and if you add blue with some red, some light red, either Alzium, crimson, any colour you like really, but if you add a bit of blue to it, you'll get that nice, you'll get grey of a sort. See, there you go. And what I was planning on doing with these ones is I've actually drawn out the little circles, was to use my atomizer and lightly spray it so that they're damp, and then just drop a little bit of colour, try and find some nice grey, into each one for a minute. Bearing in mind, you want the dark bits really should come from one angle. There's even droplets of water have to follow the laws of physics. So yeah, just drop some while they're damp. I don't know if anybody can suss out where I'm going with this.
No.
No. That postman's here, Chris. Quick!
No, it's mine. It's our postman.
Oh,
Ask Dyson.
It'll take him half hour to get to pool.
Oh dear.
I beg your pardon. So, yeah, so that one is a bit too. This one was, because I'm going to use my next point of.
He's just posting it off. Done his job. Yeah.
So really, what I'm doing is the reverse of what I did on the other one.
Wages now, don't you?
I don't think there's a fast way of doing these little rascals. While they're damp as well, I'm just concentrating on droplets, yeah, on this particular side, which is another painting effectively. I'm just dropping in some white underneath the little bits of grey that I've put in on each droplet. I think it would have been easier if I just concentrated on one nice big droplet, but they have. And while that's doing that, I'm going to just leave it for a sec.
This is going to be very interesting for me, experimenting with watercolour. Got no masking fluid and no Chinese white.
Oh wow.
Well,
Put a bit of acrylic on it, watered down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was one of the reasons that I thought of, that I'd do it this way, because some people won't have masking fluid.
Well, I've got it, but I'm sure it's dead. It's probably totally solid in the bottle. I haven't used it for so long.
I had that. It came out. I pulled it out in one, one big lump of silicone, whatever it is. Just going to dry these off. So talk amongst yourself. There goes the salt. I have to get the Hoover out at some point.
Perhaps you've got to go back to drawing, haven't you, really? No.
Yeah, so there might be a way to do it without masking fluid. So if you just patient with me, let me get an extra bit of paper, because while I was doing that, something crossed my mind, because we've all got the salt. So what I'm thinking here, I'm going to try this quickly. Not too much of. If you put clean water on paper, Let me think. This is flying by the seat here, doodles. And then put the salt straight on the clean water, and then dry it or leave it to dry. The salt will dry, will stick to the paper really, really tough. And at which point you could then get some paint while the salt is. What do I do with that palette? Oh God, I've lost it.
She's on about.
Oh, over there. While the salt is still wet, we can
Another colour underneath.
just drop the colour over it.
Yes.
And the salt, either way. But if you let the salt, I'm doing it while it's wet, but if you let that salt dry, it will stick to that paper like Billy do. And then you can put I'm thinking of you, Chris.
Yeah.
Then you can, if you let that dry, the procedure is, you make the make the paper damp, sprinkle some salt, or actually you don't need to sprinkle it because you can place it where you want the little doodahs. Let it dry, and then, because it really does stick, and then put your wash on, your background wash, or wherever you want, and then you can wash it and then rub it off afterwards once that's dry. So there's loads of different, because if you look on here, it does give you, it's not very good up there, but where the individual ones were, there is that sort of feeling that could be
Droplets.
Yeah. So I think experiment with the salt. Chunks of salt might be a good way of doing it. This one, what I've done here, is the opposite to what I've done there, because what my plan was here was to put in the little droplets. They don't look so neat at the moment because I've got pencil lines around them, and then put masking fluid over the top of the bit I've painted. So now I've painted my droplets, and now I can put the masking fluid, a drop of, I'm lucky, or you can do it with a brush, put a drop of masking fluid on each of the ones that I've painted. Let that dry off. Then I can carry on doing the painting as I normally would, as I'm going to. Once that's dry, the only this is all water here as well around the base thing, isn't it? So you're having to add some on there. The only thing about this thing is I'm having to keep it in this the only problem I've got with it is I can't get the needle back in the hole. I'm really rubbish. See, what did you do this morning? I watched some bloke trying to get a flipping needle. It's not funny. I can't. Don't make me laugh because it's bad. Got it. Cool. That was lucky. Yeah. Horrible thing. But I can't think of any alternative to it. I've got a special brush here somewhere. Can't use normal. Oh, there you go. Can't use normal brushes for the masking fluid, can you? Just because some of these bits are droplets of water, so I just want to. I'm going to reserve those. Same there, isn't it? And that's got to dry. I haven't put any drops over there, but that'll do.
It's a challenge.
So really,
I
think if you ain't got masking fluid, the salt is probably the best way of tackling it.
Be interested to see everybody's attempts because it'll all be different.
It's just a very good picture.
Yeah.
I don't think there's there ain't a right and a wrong, but I think if you've got patience and time, then perhaps sitting down and trying to paint. I think we should run a competition on the best water droplet.
Barry was meant to be here today.
Well, time is something most of us have got plenty of.
That's true.
Seems to be that way at the moment. Only trouble is, time is money. As soon as they find out you're using your time, somebody wants you to pay for it.
That taxman really upset you, didn't he?
Don't make me swear. No, well, no, I've had an accountant and taxman for ages, but now I'm a pensioner. They want that and all, the bastards. They're after all. They want it all, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're sitting down,
somebody's got to pay for this debt that we're in.
I was just going to say they're trying to get poor old Dave to pay for the pandemic. Yeah. At some point we're going to have to put some colour on this bird. Point to the usual thing is, where's George when you need him? I don't think he ever did droplets. He would have done them in pencil, watercolour pencil, which I think looking at probably be worth doing it as well. What I'm doing here is I'm making the bird damp, just clean water. I'm just looking for the light colours. It's going to be very delicate, this bird, isn't he? Because I've only got this sort of few colours in my palette. Oh, that's a bit dark. Got a bit excited there, didn't it? Oi, come here. That's the colour that I had reserved for the bottom of the wings in me. So I've got this little. But while it's light, Chrissy, you watching this? Because you make the area that you're going to paint damp with clean water, and then drop in the colour. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like acrylics. And you'll gradually tease the little rascal out. I think there's a gap there. I think while I've got this, I think is this dry yet? No. That's the other thing about masking fluid. So, especially when it comes out like that, it takes about a week to dry. Right? Ironic. Let's speed it up a little bit. I'm just going to add a little bit more colour onto this bird, onto the bottom of his wings. Not for any, just to, because they are a sort of special blue, aren't they, these things? I can go, where the pencil lines, I've put pencil lines where I think the shadow areas should be, and it is my picture, so like I said before, what we can do, if you paint dark where the shadows are, and then we're going to push the paint up, so today we've got masking fluid, salt, and now he's got a knife. You can use a butter knife. Yeah, you can use a butter knife or a credit card and just push the paint back up. Just push it around. See if you can get those. See if you can get a few. Might be better with the card actually. I've got someone's nicked me credit card. There's a surprise.
Closed it his eye.
He lied.
No, it's the back. It was taken or something.
If you can get a butter knife with a nice pointed edge, you can push. Just push the colour up and see what happens. I think you'll be surprised. You get a nice sort of nice effect.
That's incredible.
I'll show you in a sec where I did it the other day that works, where it works really well. But it's another armor, another piece of ammunition in your bow. But a butter knife's really good because they've got a really sort of pointed edge, you know, sort of, they're wide, aren't they? They're a bit wider than that. I've got one outside, a little palette, and while it's still damp, we can tissue off any exciting bits. Trying to find some. Can't say my heart is in botanical studies, but it's a challenge, isn't it?
I think you got your electric bill, so you'll be pleased as well.
See why you've got that grey, blue colour floating around. That's his tail there, that bird. Now it's just a question of deciding where you want these dark areas and popping them in.
Oh, that's me you're leaning on.
Oh, made me jump.
I got headphones on. It certainly. Well, I didn't think it's pretty. It's quite old school, isn't it? The trill phone. You don't get so much of that now. I think years ago they were all like that, weren't they?
Yeah.
Still got. So, one of the things. These atomizers are essential bit of kit in there, aren't they? Once you get used to one, you can't sort of think, how the heck did I ever manage without an atomizer? So we've done with the Chrissy, the way to think about it is light behind the dark. Yeah, so you concentrate on the light colors first. So looking at this sort of image, if you concentrate on the lighter tones, all your light tones, paint those first, and then start thinking about the mid-tones, which would be the lighter greys, and then towards the end, you build up the really dark ones. Yeah?
Yep.
That's
exactly
the way.
Exactly the opposite. If I just remember, whatever I do with acrylic, do the opposite.
Yeah. You got it. Whatever it was. Yeah. Because in acrylics, it's easy really, because in acrylics, your last colour is likely to be white.
Yeah.
Whereas in watercolour, your first colour is white, your last colour is dark. So yeah. So once you get that sort of notion in, you know, George used to poo-poo that, but it's not right. It doesn't work, because because it's just the nature of the beast, isn't it? If you've got, well, ooh, a bit wet. If you've got in watercolor, there's a bit. Show me. We're going to do our darks, yeah. So we'll put a dark color, whether it was any color really, could be blue, cold color, dark color. Now then, how do I make that light? If I put any, I can't put any color on it to make it light.
Scratch it out.
Yeah, I mean there are ways of doing it, but it's not. But you can't put another color on that and make it lighter.
No.
Whereas this is, which is lighter here, if I can make it darker and more interesting by putting color on top of it, knowing that the transparency of the color underneath will slightly show through because they're both transparent. So getting back to which, adding to that point as well, you often look at your picture or hear people say, my paintings, I love watercolors, but it always goes muddy. Well, the reason is because they're doing that. They start adding a third or a fourth color over the top of the other one. That's very strong, that red. So it's doing the blocking everything out. But the more of these colors you put on, the more it will go muddy. And that's where that sort of term comes from. But you can get nice effects like that because if you're quick, you can get because it's transparent. You're layering the paint one on top of the other, bum, 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 bum. So the bottom layer shows through the second layer, and so hence the reason that we were talking about this the other day, where those are the red, the yellow, and the blue. Then you add those two together, the red and the blue together to give us the yellow and the blue to give us green. Then you add those two together to give us that. So you can almost sense that the layers are there. Adding two colours, that's quite a nice effect. That
it looks like a rock. Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing about these knives. Yeah, so you've automatically got a way of making rocks because you can just scratch out a layer of the top layer and it reveals the bottom underneath. Credit card does a similar thing, but you can utilize that method in any of the other paintings that you do, and bear it in mind. I can show you quickly. I did it the other day on the Avon Beach picture. I did it on here because I was thinking about it and I'm looking at it, and it's something that I'm conscious of, that one side of the picture doesn't join the other side. So what I did, I got a big mop and put a big brown or sandy colour, it was reflection shadow colour across the bottom here, and then used the knife just to scratch it all out, and it's joined the two pictures together. You can still use it on the rocks there. It's something that something to think about when you're doing a picture, especially landscapes or pictures of buildings, and where one side of the picture is there and one side there. Well, they're all like that to a degree. This isn't, because it's pretty bog standard. But even though one side's in shadow and one isn't, they still join up. One side of the picture is, otherwise they look stark. They don't balance. Something. I've stopped reading these books. No, but it's no. If you can incorporate it in your work, it's a good thing. Right, what colour? Bit of yellow.
think we might need a
A
colour.
bit more yellow.
I think we might need a coloured print.
And I'm going to go just clean water on where I think it's got, there's some sort of orangey yellow bits. So I've done a load of grey. We're just blocking in colour at the moment. But now we're going to find some, there's a bit of yellow. And we're going to drop that in. That was a bit more clean water on the brush there. I reckon Pauline will be ace at this bird.
Like that. Don't put me under pressure.
Yeah. I'm relying on you now. No, I don't, because it's very, it's sort of detail-y, isn't it? I've got a little bit of orange and red floating around. Oh, there's some there, look. I can drop that in to me bird. It's a bit strong. It doesn't matter, we can lift it off with watercolours. Just use our brush. Drop it in. And don't forget his tail, which is, actually it's not his tail, is it? I think it's part of another wing, I don't know. Just drop it in. Feels like I'm doing a blooming robin. If you're using the screens, your colours will be slightly different. Yeah, I've got a king robin. I'm loving that. Well, yeah, but it's only till I use a bit of tissue and tease some of it off. Take it back to, if you scrunch it up, it'll make it look like they're sort of feathers. The bottom bit that can stay dark, but it's the same thing. I'm just making a pointy bit at the end and just teasing it out. That's better. You can even do the opposite. You can dab your tissue in some dark paint and dab that in to the picture as well. It's not so, you need a lot more direction. Better off with a bit of sponge, really. Remember what I say about the birds. They never look remarkable until you put the eye in. Oh, something happened to my rigger. Went.
Can't print it anymore.
No.
It's just patience, isn't it? Now, it's just a matter of adding all the detail in, which I'm not too fussed about. So I'm more interested in getting some reaction. Have you got a rigger brush, Chris?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty crucial with this thing to add some of the it's such a small thing. I think I might have done his beak a little bit too. Always whistle when you work. Tax man. He wrote a song about it, didn't he? That George Harrison. I know what he's on about now.
Who's our Joyce today?
Yeah, she texted me to say that she had some other bits. Well, she didn't give me a reason. She just said that she couldn't make it. Fair enough.
What's Dyson barking at now?
You thought it was a firework, I think.
They're saving money, aren't they? They're saving money. Yeah, doing it twice. He was official, wasn't he? Yeah.
Once you put the bird's eye in, it suddenly comes a bit more alive. But it's mostly mostly rigger work, isn't it? You know, just carry on teasing it around. I'm going to dry it off in a minute, but I'm going to quickly go over the other one. If I find a bigger brush. Only use 2 brushes, the rigger and the number. No, it doesn't have a number, this one, does it? It's hopefully this is dried off now. So it's going to have orange wings if I'm not careful. That'd be all right. It's part of his nature. I went to a Zoom meeting last night. Talking of, reminds me of this bird. There was a guy doing, what are they, guys that collect, well, don't collect, who's paleontologists that go and find dinosaurs and put them back together and that. Absolutely, that was Winchester Cafe College. It's part of Winchester University College or whatever it is. And the speaker last night was, don't know what his name was a guy from Southampton University. You might not realise it, but we are in, or I am particularly, close to one of the probably top 5 dinosaur sites on the planet. I can see it on a clear day from Avon Beach, Isle of Wight. Absolute haven for. All I've done here is made it white and just adding in some darks where I put the shadow lines for a minute. Might just put a little bit of doodah on there.
Yeah, you don't want 184.
The hard bit comes in a minute when we dry it all off.
So you got your print now.
So I'm more concerned about the.
Just change the format. That's why mine won't do it.
Just give him a little bit of a.
I can't get into print.
The yellow. Running out of orange. Orangey red colour. Yeah, this guy last night was it was amazing what they can discover from a fossil. They shave fossils into sort of really micro slivers, and then they put them in a CT scanner and scan them, and then make a 3D model of it, and then they can work out how old it is, what sex it was.
It doesn't recognise the cartridge.
Yeah, it was staggering. Actually, at the time, I was watching it thinking,
no, 100 quid of ink in it, don't know what it looks
yeah, all right, like you do. It was only like, now while I'm doing this, and he was showing a picture of Archaeopteryx, which was the first, you must remember that, they found this fossil that had a beak, a beak with teeth in, little legs. It was sort of the missing link between dinosaurs and birds. They've since found quite a few of them, and like doing this reminds me of that, because it is sort of especially when you look at its eyes. You wait till you start painting and you look at its eyes, you think, crikey, it's like a reptile. It's got a definite thing about it, mind you. Some people remind me of that.
Black and white and see if it catches.
Sometimes do you ever do that? I do it. Well, I wouldn't tell them to the face, but I often look at people, especially people in the public eye, like I don't know, film star, motor racing drivers are famous. I think looking at them, I think, crikey, that bloke's like a reptile.
Dear.
Once you do it, you're buggered because you'll start looking, because you look at their eyebrows and their forehead and that, and it's sort of, you suddenly think, yeah, I see what Dave's on about. He looks like a reptile, that bloke. Yeah, scary. Well, being ugly, I don't really care. If you got some dry brush work as well, look, there is no, what's the word? There's no method. There's no direct do this, do that, and it'll appear. It's the subject is what it is. It's a matter of damp, water, and colour, and while it's damp, we can just carry on and painting what you see, looking for the tonal values, the shades. It's darker over this side. It's darker over. There's a shadow over here, so let's put some shadow in. And gradually building it up. And after about 3 days of dithering away, or in George's case, he'd be doing it for half the night as well. He'd stay up all night doing it. And then he'll get his pencils out and start scratching away. But the process is, up to this point, is fairly routine. Just find some dark areas, and using it's good technique for the rigger, because it's all the same that I keep going on about. Using the side of it,
right.
While it's damp, keep going.
The line picture, if you want that one.
And also, we've got the added little bonus of painting in the negative as well, because here we are conscious of what we do here is going to be altered considerably when we put some background in. I think I could do a bit more of a reddy tinge on this bird. Maybe not too much. I'm conscious of, I don't want him to be too, I like the one my painter's done. It's quite subtle. Get down. Oh, dear. I'd like to say I miss me dogs, but it's at moments like this where what your dog is doing there, if a sound and bark ain't nothing to what Spike and Elvis could get up to. They just go
no people found.
Crazy.
Airdrop here.
So you can see I've hardly used any extra paint on this from what I started with.
I'll reboot the
Gordon's rebooting. Look out!
I'm rebooting the printer. Yeah.
Trying to get a copy of the picture.
It's just forgotten what me inks are. It can't read me inks now.
That's Bill. Bill's got in there own. Bill's in the printer as well. Bill Gates loves Gordon. He's got a personal vendetta.
I've had to send the picture to Anne because my iPhone won't handle it. Cannot recognise the following ink code.
Was it too big a size, the file?
No. Just sheer stupidity.
I think it's just once you block it in, Chrissy, then it's just a question of
looking for more. Then you start building up the darker bits. Yeah, so you can just look in your palette. So some more darker areas, but I think you could.
We've used it since we've had that new one, haven't we?
Working perfectly.
Just extend that. I suppose you've got to think feathers, haven't we? And they're darker over here. I think this bird's going to be a little bit tidier than the other one. And look for any dark areas and just build them up.
Says the printer is busy now.
Trying to find the ink.
Yeah.
This is quite a different picture than the normal kingfisher when you see which is doing a nosedive, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's the opposite, it's coming back up again.
Yeah.
It's a really nice picture.
It is.
Yeah, it's lovely.
That's what it crossed my mind. I've got Melanie buys the
Can't recognise the cartridges. Start again.
Well, she subscribes to the is it the was it Royal
RSP?
Is it? I don't know which one it is. I don't know if it's the bird. It might be the bird. Yeah, it must be the bird one. RSPB, isn't it? Royal Society for Prevention of Birds. Yeah, she does.
Prevention of birds.
What's she laughing about?
I'm with you, Anne.
Is that?
The Royal Society for the Prevention of Birds.
Prevention of them, yeah.
Didn't sound quite right.
I'm already in the doghouse for posting that Me Too picture this morning on Facebook. I like that. The Daily Star headline, wasn't it? Ronaldo, the
oh yes, he's not allowed to do work.
Because he's a money pit, isn't he? You know, and he has to play football every other day, so he mustn't get injured because he's a. And I just put, yeah, me too, mate. That's how he's been getting away with it. You come over here, I'll teach him some lessons. Actually, no, that's a bit harsh, really, because it's teamwork, isn't it? Gordon, help. It's teamwork.
What?
It's all about teamwork.
Yeah.
Being in a relationship and marriage, you know. You do your bit.
I was on
then I'll do your bit as well. Or something like that. No, don't.
I'll catch you up in a minute.
Do you want me to finish your bit off? Yeah.
Well,
that's the beauty of painting pictures, isn't it? Nobody can do that for you. It's a bit of a mess. It's a bit of a mess. But we have no fear. So at some point you're going to have to think about darts. It's just a matter of I quite like. Do I quite like this Kingfisher? Don't know. I think the trouble is with doing anything along the lines of botanical, birdie, ornithological, this sort of work. There is the problem with it. Doesn't matter how. Once you get to that realization, doesn't matter how flipping good you are at it, you will never satisfy someone that knows about birds. They will always say, "Oh, well, ain't nothing like it. That's nothing like an eagle."
You notice something like an eagle, Dave.
That's what I said. I said you. At which point you say, well, "You spotted my deliberate mistake. You do know what you're talking about when it comes to birds." But anyway, I'm going to dry this off a sec because this is in the day, it is a demo piece. It's not something that I would want to go off and, I don't know. Trouble is with me, tomorrow morning or later on tonight, I think, oh, do you know, that ain't that bad. What if I just, and then I'll get some pencils out, coloured pencils, and start teasing it up. It ends up being a full-blown masterpiece. What like that?
It didn't take long. It was 11:45. Hour.
Oh.
Hmm?
Everything's good. Printer.
Well, it's always that.
That'd be dry. What I want to dry it off so I can quickly put a little bit of a border around budgie number 2. So using my trusty mop. It's Taxman. We found you. I'm preoccupied.
Banging a wash behind the other one, but look at it.
Oh, right.
So just put a. I'm not intentionally going to get really. Got to make this one really.
Yeah.
I've still got a bit of yellow left, so I can put a bit in.
It's amazing they got a picture of 2 at the same time to jump out of the water together.
Yeah.
Formation.
Yeah.
Formation Kingfisher.
Find a bit of extra yellow. It was lemon yellow that I was playing with before, but I'm just not gonna. If you get a chance to get a mop or you got one, once it's got a nice point on the end, you can usually get quite close to your subject. Gonna have to dry this off now. And add a bit of blue, and then give you a dark green bits. Lemon yellow and.
They do go to a nice point.
When you're putting your water on and
with a nice bit of blue on it, does give you that
feels strange.
Background sort of distance foliage thing.
Sort of bend,
one colour I haven't put on there is any red, so if you do that, just a little bit of, there was a bit of red there, or that orange, you'll get some interesting tones as well.
If you mix it on the brush like that, it's quite good.
I think if you're going to do colour mixing, do it on the paper in the brush without doubt. You'll get much better, much more spontaneous and more rewarding effects. And it should. I'm just using stuff that I've got in the palette. Why? Because it's local to the colour. It's stuff that's in that palette. So going back to our honey wool.
Yeah, there's a lot of difference.
The complementary blue is orange. Blah blah blah. In nature's quite aware of that. So it's had an orange bird with blue on it. So the colours. In a way, his subject's done the work for us. So they're in the palette, so they can be in the background as well. And we're pretty confident. Well, I'm absolutely confident that it will blend in with the picture. Just because I want to, I'm going to grab that knife. Oops, that fell on the floor and stuck in my foot. There you go. But going back to the knife, there's no reason why we can add some bit, push the paint around, and we can add. I've got hairs all over this one. But if you do it selectively, you can hold it on its side, scratch it in. Be surprised what you can come up with. You get some really lovely effects. I've even got, look, just by doing that, I've got a branch going through the background, just by pushing the paint around.
because it's damp. But it'll get to a point where it won't work because obviously the paint dries off. But there, so you can do that. Worth a £5 to learn that.
When did you ask him?
It's really a neat. It's really a really neat.
I'll put delivery Wednesday. Okay.
All my secrets are coming out. Yeah, as I say, this is a plastic palette knife for painting, but I've got a big box in there somewhere. You can use a butter knife where it's really, as long as it hasn't got a sharp edge. Or
We've got one of them. So.
Butter knives?
No, that knife.
What is it?
It's a palette knife for oil painting.
Or
acrylic.
Yeah, that's the sort of knife it was.
Sorry, am I coming over? Can you hear me?
Yep.
No, not where. No, I can't. Who's that? Pardon?
I can hear you.
Apple number 5, Mr. Monkeys.
Yeah.
Left a bit.
Show your age, mate.
I have no shame. I'm a pensioner.
What was it?
You're a pensioner and you know it. Clap your hands. Oh, I love it.
Into the phone box because he didn't have a telephone.
You can always tidy it up, because it's watercolours. So if you get any bits that
You get those things. Why don't they rerun those?
Yeah.
sort of overflow or you're not too keen on, just get a stiff brush and tease it off. Be careful though, because it will go through the paper after a while. So what I tend to do is, like there's a little bit there, a little stain. So I've gone over it a bit with a brush.
Somebody did it through
and scratched it and dabbed it off. But do it once or twice, and then you think, hang on, I'll come back later when it's a bit drier. And also with clean water, don't forget we can tease dried work into a shadow area as well. So we can smooth it down.
I remember one of them was
and
using
add.
trees.
Anyway, that's I'm going to dry those off. So that was the interesting bit is the
That's why you have to walk off your computer screen.
Well, I'm hoping you just unplug it and put it back in. Oh, you're always doubtful. You're so pessimistic lately.
That's the trouble.
let's hope that's dried off enough to. If you've got any masking fluid, you rub it off. You should be left with a few. I think this side's still a bit damp. I don't know. Anyway. Got to be careful with this stuff. You can end up burning the tops of your fingers off. Masking fluid is a lot tamer than the salt. That's the reason I said earlier about putting the salt on dry water and let it dry, and then when it dries, it sort of glues itself to the bottom, and then when it comes off, you really have to rub it hard as well. But it will do a similar job. I think. Going in. Be careful here. If you remember, with this side, I painted the water droplets first and then put fluid over the top of them, just to see if I got a better result than what I'm going to get. So I've got them. So even though I've rubbed the masking fluid off, I've still got a few droplets, but they still need a lot of work on them. Yeah. Now, what do we do? Bit of rigor. Get on. Funny, isn't it? I can't work with a palette. Maybe not. Didn't like it that way up. Funny old fool. And there, it's just a matter of, got a choice. I'll try one dry. Dropping in some little bits of grey colour. This is going to take this one here. This slot here is a effectively whole blob of water, which I'm going to make damp with clean water, and then find a little bit of off colour and drop it in. See what happens. It's got to have some sort of tonal value, and we're just going to have to go through them and build them up. So if you're not that keen on water, don't put too many drops in, because it's going to be quite interesting. Just drop them in. There is no finite. This is the way to do it. The only way to do it is to add the water to it. I think if you bear that in mind, what was said right from the start.
Oh, you've darkened it.
They have an edge to
If I
them
put in the black colours.
that we can tease them in. Find a bit more grey.
Water all over the place.
Add a bit of blue to that. Yellow.
He's flapping his wings at a tremendous rate.
Yeah. We're going to dry them out.
Are you doing the paint along, Gordon and Anne?
Sorry?
Are you painting along a Dave?
No.
Well, we were just doing the preliminaries, but the printer packed up, so that's it.
Oh.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
joining
trying to get a print of the picture.
Oh. I can't do that.
Take a photo of it. That's what I've done. Take a photo of it on your iPad with your phone.
We've got it digital. We were just trying to put it through for a paper print.
Oh, right.
But as is normal in this household, the printer packed up again.
Yeah, mine's packed up.
Yeah. Join the club.
Don't last long, do they?
No, they don't. No.
They keep reprogramming them. That's the trouble. I haven't figured out how yet.
There's I think it's not too bad. I can live with that. Once it's dried up, just gonna add a bit. So really, all you can do is add some of these colours out of your palette and just drop them in. Watercolour should be able to paint water, shouldn't it? You'd think it'd be so easy. No, I've only spoiled it because I've got this stain there. That's sort of detracting from what's going on. That's fine. I'm happy about that. These ones, not so good. Not so good. I think this is working much better than the ones that I did before here. But
bit like the rainbow task, isn't it?
yeah. There is no. Yeah. I deliberately
See
kept
what
this bit. This is, if you like, the big drop of water, isn't it? So just a matter of adding. Yeah, in that respect, it is, because do you do the rainbow first? Do you do the rainbow last? You can't do it last. I have nightmares over that picture.
Or just leave it out.
Yeah. I genuinely was thinking about that. That picture probably yesterday, or it might have been this morning. I don't know. Half asleep. And yeah, even now I was thinking, next time we do that rainbow, do the rainbow first, let it dry, and everything else will follow down from it. They're not actually, I don't think the two methods are that distinctly different, but you're going to have to be brave, and while it's damp, add some dark bits to the one edge of our thing. We're not finished yet, by all means. We're not giving up on, we're not finished experimenting, shall we say. I'm just teasing some darker colours in there and the same there. Oh yeah, I make the amount of times my brush is going up there and back. Very good, very nice. That bit there is part of the bird anyway, so that's cool.
Yeah. In this photograph, because they're odd shaped bits of water, they're not obeying the rules.
The only bit that's annoying is this little piece here, which I make it lighter.
Good point.
Actually look like it's part of the water bit. It's just a stain, and I've got this bristle brush that doesn't take any prisoners when it comes to that sort of work. Now, quickly just dry it off a tad. Because if you've got any permanent white, or Chris could probably use gouache on this if you had a little bit in the tube. And
haven't got any gouache.
You haven't got any gouache, but you could probably use a bit of acrylic, wouldn't it? Because it's you actually the acrylic will probably work really well. And look for any really bright highlights on the droplets. The color that you really need, and I'm going to order it at some point for watercolor, is a color called non-bleeding white. Sounds really good, doesn't
it? That black?
No, it's called non-bleeding white, and it's made by, I also call it Phineas Fogg. It's Dr. Finn, or what, I don't know. You'll see it online. It's not cheap, but it's not dear either. It's what, 8-10 quid, I think. 9, everything's. Anyway, putting all my pictures up now. Got to pay 20% tax. Anything over 1,800 quid. I'm gonna have a moan about that. Yeah, so if you find any little water droplet highlights, just add a little purple white. This is permanent. Does it? It says it's permanent. This is titanium white opaque, but it is watercolor, so it won't. They say it's opaque, but I bet it isn't. And you can just add a few to to highlight the fact that it's water. With the acrylic this, you could probably do it quite well because it will sit on the top. It'll look like, because you think about it, these are looking quite good because I've added more dark on this side.
What's going on there?
But with the watercolor, you have to keep. Hence the reason I was on about the non-bleeding white, because it doesn't bleed. In other words, it is solid white. I can't remember what his name. It's Dr.
Non-bleeding white.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm going to get, some non-bleeding white. I'll just add it in. It's Dr. Finn's, isn't it? Or Dr. somebody. I often see it. They make watercolor, but it's, like acrylic inks. They come in a little pipette. The watercolors are like that as well. They're hydrated, and you just drop them in, and they're really quite fierce. Well, all I'm doing, all I suggest to do, is.
How's that tub? Is it
using?
That's what I got. I don't know if that's what he's talking about. I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, Anne's got a bottle here of bleed-proof white. It's the same
that's
thing,
it.
but it's a bit more polite.
That's it. Is it Dr. Finn or something?
It's Dale Arowney.
Oh yeah, they make it.
Luna or something.
Well, you're streets ahead of the rest of us then.
I don't know what to do with it.
Covers dyes, markers, and designers' colours.
You've just been watching me do it on the video. That's what you got to do with it.
Oh, right.
Use with a brush.
I wasn't here. I'd gone. I missed that. I'll have to rerun it.
And we can do it. We can do it in 4 different languages as well.
And it was cheap. Was he using it as masking?
No, as a highlight.
Highlighting. Oh, right, yeah.
That's what you use it for.
It's like a solid paint, really, that's all.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But I know some people buy it. I've seen them, and they've sort of put in the comments saying this stuff's bloody rubbish. It comes as a solid lump.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I think you're supposed to add water to it and swish it around a bit.
Yeah, you just use it like a paint, yeah.
Yeah.
But I only got it yesterday. It was only £4.20 or something. I thought that sounds sweet and cheerful.
De La Rowney one is cheaper.
That is De La Rowney.
Yeah, I said the De La Rowney one. De La Rowney one is cheaper.
Oh right,
than the Dr. Watsits.
Oh right.
Dr. Watsits is a bit dearer.
But usually I use white gouache.
Yeah, gouache doesn't do the job as well as that stuff you inadvertently. Yeah. Right. So you're the reason I couldn't get any yesterday, because you bought it. It's you. How did you know that? That must have been. You must be psychic.
I thought you'd only put it.
And now. There you go.
Put it in a painting.
It does.
I've got two little birds flying away.
Yeah. Twins.
The same as any other paint, really. I don't quite know. It's what it's meant to do, really.
And I think you get to a certain state. No, that's looking quite nice. That's not too bad.
Keep forever.
Just maybe a few extra things. But once you've got that rigor in there, just add a few, paint what you see, really. Yeah.
It might be finer grains.
And the beauty of having that little drop of white is it gives you the opportunity of adding some really serious
my gouache is going solid.
Highlights, like the
yeah, it doesn't matter. You can't get out of the bloody tube.
Exactly.
There's a drop on his wing over here that needs to be decidedly white. So, and one there.
I've just tested out your non-bleeding white.
It did bleed.
It's like using gouache It seems to be a little bit creamier, a little bit finer, shall we say.
Yeah.
But it's still softened. It still drags the colour up from underneath. You can, if you put it on gently, it's all right. But if you bear on the brush, it does disturb the colour underneath and come through. Mixes.
Well, that theory out the window, isn't it? Well, I was recommended it, so I'm definitely going to get some and try it out. But this seems to be doing not too bad at all. I found there was that little scrappy area over here. Some of this. I suppose the other thing to perhaps bear in mind is to make them into droplets.
What are you doing?
He's drying his hair.
Good job.
All of his own now.
I think that's I'm quite pleased with it.
Yeah, nice.
One thing you I mean, if you're ridiculously either ridiculously brave or crazy, there is always, and I'll do it just for a laugh. Well, no, just because I'm crazy. No,
you're batter, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I was going to say, there's no. If we make the paper, just spray it a bit, and get a toothbrush, and just so happens in the palette over here is some Chinese white. I was just wondering if I could just spatter a few extra blobs on. I think you'd have to make the water quite damp for the brush, and just add a few extra. Let that dry and see what happens. And I'll do the same over here because I'm green. There you go. Why not? It's not snow, it's water. Chris, you can do that with acrylic. It'll look quite interesting. And while they're still damp, still soaking wet, just grab a bit of grey or dirty water and just drop it in, and they'll spread. So you've got real droplets, not the rubbish that you get out of the paintbrush. Should be able to just lightly drop a few grey bits on.
Yeah.
I think I was quite one way. Yeah, anyone. I think you have to wait until as they dry off. Joyce will be having fun with this. I could send her the video later. Got to wash it. No, I think that doesn't work. It needs to be, well, it does, but you have to be very, very subtle with the colour. Not the spattering bit. I'm on about the dropping a little bit of tone into it. Yeah. Voila. Next stage, well, if there is a next stage, would be just to tease out some more information on the bird. Voila. Oh, quite like that. I think I've done a good job there. And especially doing this where I put the knife along the background, it brought out some sort of hidden tree bits. So I'm just, if I grab a little bit of anything really off the rigger, and just sort of follow the lines up a bit, just stick a price label on it. Yours for
Been using my telephone for years.
oh no, now I've got to pay 20% tax. I think every picture's telling a different story now.
This is a very taxing saga, Dave.
Oh, I know. I'm just having a look. I'll grow out of it. Yeah, sort of.
Yeah, that's good.
It'll flame up.
That's surprisingly well.
Yeah, whatever. Well, I think I've shown you about at least three or four different ways of doing the little droplet bits. And I think even now, once they're dry, could probably use a dark pencil, what do you call it, watercolor pencil. If you've got any, and just tweak out a few extra bits here and there. It's too wet really, but you can just do a George. Just pretend you're George, and add a few bits out. And when this one's will look a lot better when it's dry, because then I can rub out the pencil marks.
It's easy.
Got quite a few pencil marks on it, and this bit up here where the salt went is still a bit.
You can reactivate it at your brushes. It's not going to.
Still a bit doodah.
Does say
But
that.
if you see one of these bristle brushes,
Yeah.
don't say that after 4 pints of lager. I got a bristle brush. A bristle brush. Yeah.
Got many of them.
You know it was.
Yeah, you would. Yeah. And just tidy it up. It's where I spattered the salt, left a stain. And this bit here needs lightening off a bit. Just tease it off. Or I might actually later on look at it and think, hang on, let's make that even darker. I've lost the original. But yeah, there's no reason why. It's just that area we could add.
I didn't know it was a new.
Just drop in some really dark blue. Maybe it'll work. Bit of dry brush going up. Just flicking it. So it looks like there's something going on in the background. Look at that. That bird's just come out of them trees to get that fish. Bit of imagination. If you've got doing that, you know, other invention, isn't it? Like I said, experimentation is the start of invention. And where that salt was, just using dry brush with some paint on it, I've now added some more information. Don't need a lot of paint. You can hear it scratching because it's where I threw some salt on it, which kind of didn't work. Oh, whatever. There you go. And got two birds. Two birds of a feather.
Yeah.
Heavy metal as they should.
Lots of good tips today.
I think it's. How are we off for time? Is it really early still?
12:15 nearly.
Oh, that's time just about right, really.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
I think.
Can't decide now whether to do it watercolour, acrylic, or watercolour pencils, or what.
Yeah, no, we've got a choice, haven't we?
I might experiment and see which turns out best.
Turn the speaker up.
Put a bit of both on.
Yeah, mixed media.
I tell you, well, look, I've only been looking at them close up, but on the screen they look really nice.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do look nice.
Those things so
Yeah.
fun.
I think, yeah. I mean, I don't do, like I said earlier. I think if you think you're going to be a botanical or you're going to paint birds, don't do it.
What's it going to do now?
Yeah, who's Carol?
Might be.
It's about eye treatment.
Ooh, interesting.
It's quite vicious stuff.
But yeah, so, and as far as I know, this has been recorded as well. So
yeah, we can watch it back.
Yeah, which makes a change for me. Usually, I've spent what is it 2-3 times now. Finished the afternoon and gone, oh my god. So I had to do recap one, but it's much better if you can do the whole thing. Because if I put it on YouTube, I'm thinking about it. It takes pressure off of me because they have the big file and look after it and all the rest of it, and everybody can access it forever whenever they like. Otherwise, if I put it on, like I was on my Google Drive and then share it that way, it's all right. But you soon they're quite large files, aren't they? Some of these things, they can fill your bucket up quite quickly. Put it bluntly. Oh, I'm quite pleased with that. I can happily say yeah. Well, I always do at the time, don't you? It's only the next day when you look at a picture, you think, oh, I don't know. Or Carol does it a lot, doesn't she?
Oh, I'm never happy with any of mine.
I think if you're going to do it in pastel,
I don't know what to do. Might be a bit tricky, do you think? Don't know.
Well, got pastel pencils?
No, well, I've got either, haven't I? I've got the chalks.
I'd do it in watercolour first, and if it doesn't work out, you can still, like I showed you the other day, you can still use the pastels over the top of the watercolour anyway when it's dry.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah.
Tend to do that quite a lot.
Oh well.
Well,
I just like the thought of smudging the colours in. I like doing that.
Yeah, you get I mean, that's what I said. I could well look at that tomorrow or later and think, like I did that thing with Mo, start putting some pastels in and just blending them in with my fingers to give it that, like you say, that subtle softness. And they are pure pigments, so they will bring things out.
Mix, yeah. Oh well, I'll have a go.
And don't forget, you can still use water on the brush and use them like watercolor. Just paint them.
All right, okay.
It'll just smooth out all over the place. It works really well.
Right.
I think this is going to be very interesting, seeing how we all interpret it.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Right. Yeah. The droplets are the hardest bit.
Well, potentially they are, yeah. But
I'm going to practice those loads before I start.
Oh.
I think the probably is to draw a circle, but think globe, or think apple or orange.
You can watch it on one of the. If you put it in, you can see somebody doing it. They do it with a pencil.
Oh, a YouTube thing.
Yeah. Or Pinterest, Pinterest or whatever.
Yeah, I looked at a few different ones for doing it, and I thought none of them knew what they're talking about.
No, well.
I came to the conclusion that I thought, nah, just do it.
Yeah.
Just look at it and do it.
Yeah.
Because they were just sort of, there is, at the end of it, there ain't no template methodology for doing a perfect water drop in watercolor.
No.
You just got to paint what you see and just do it. There are some tips, like I said, I thought the one, if you look at the shadow on a water drop, the light goes through the drop and then the shadow forms the other side of the drop. Well, that ain't much good in our circumstance, because the drops are in the air anyway, so there's nothing they can shadow to.
Oh well.
So,
Let's see what we can do.
Yes.
well, I think we're doing some really good work, and we're really complicated work as well. So if it don't push you, it ain't worth it, is it? You know.
No, it's very good.
Yeah.
And one thing I must say, going back to the Avon Beach one, about the groins, when I realised that I didn't have any boards between my my posts, I don't quite know how. I don't know how I came to that conclusion, because I looked at it. I looked at the original one that I was copying, and I thought, why is the sand so much darker that side? And I still didn't see that there were boards.
Right. Well, well, I'm guilty. I'm guilty of the same thing.
Yeah.
Because I didn't notice that either. I didn't know what Gordon was on about. I just thought it was the way he spelt groins was wrong.
Yeah,
So I didn't notice
shadows coming through. Unless it's posts, can you? There wouldn't be shadows coming through like you did if it was actually a fence.
Oh, yeah, mine was all wrong then. Oh, God.
Right, I can start painting mine now. I've learnt all the lessons on it.
Right. You'll be the first one to put yours through.
To fence or not to fence?
I won't have any trouble with my groins, no.
Right.
Make a change, won't it?
Oh, gosh.
As a great artist once said, you've got to be brave enough to fail.
Brave enough to
fail.
To fail. Do that on a regular basis.
Oh God, yeah.
Not if you do it with acrylics though, Dave.
I'm waiting for a response.
It's gone over my head a bit, that actually.
Yeah.
Really?
Not if you do it. Well, you can fail in acrylics as well.
No, you can't. You just keep going over the top until you get it right.
No.
No.
There's a
Is oil painting easier because they just seem to scrub it all out and start again, don't they?
Is anybody talking about art programs and things? Anybody watched that program yesterday? Drawers Off.
Oh no,
it was life painting. It's on today at 5 o'clock again. The next one.
Thank you, Chris. I forgot about it.
And basically, it's a life model.
Yeah.
And they're just painting it in a limited time. I didn't rate the paintings very well that they did. I thought, I don't know. I think any one of us could have done it better. But it's quite interesting. There's a lot of art programs.
What side is that on then, Chris?
I think it's on 4 or 5.
Right.
Yeah, because I've been watching that. There's that one, and then there's the landscape artist and the portrait artist. There's all different ones on different channels.
Yeah,
they're quite interesting to watch.
Yeah, I must watch that one tonight. I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, so luckily when it came up on the preview a few days ago, I set to record it because I'd forgotten all about it until I saw somebody on Facebook was talking about it, and luckily I'd recorded it.
They all have to take turns taking their clothes off, don't they?
Oh, flipping it. I'll be watching that now. What channel?
Oh, God.
As long as we have a
adult channel.
What channel's that on?
I think it was 4.
Oh, flipping it.
At 5 o'clock, isn't it?
Yeah, it's early.
I'll have a word with Mel. She's been hiding that from me.
It might spoil your dinner.
Yeah, I meant to have a look and I forgot.
Well, it's before the watershed, so it can't be that bad.
No. It's a bit like Calendar Girls, I think.
Right.
They're all very discreet.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yes. They have backs of chairs back to front and things like that. Yeah.
Sounds
no, it's fun though to watch these different things.
Yeah.
That's one thing with lockdown. We've all got so much more time to do things like that.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't bother with.
Exactly.
Anyway, thank you very much, Dave.
Yes, that was very good.
So we'll see how we get on.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing everybody's painting.
Yeah.
Just quiet for a day or two.
Yeah.
Hopefully see you next week.
Yeah. Okay then. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Bye everybody.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
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 Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.